Hello, and welcome to the ThinkTree of interviews. My name is Kush Kumar, and today I have the pleasure of speaking to Dr. Ruth Hull, all the way from Perth in Australia. Hello, Ruth.
Hello, Kush. Thanks for having me on this.
Excellent, excellent. So I'd like to start by asking you a question from your background. So what made you become a therapist?
I sort of just fell into it, actually. When I was young, my grandmother gave me a book on reflexology, and I was mesmerized. I just fell in love with reflexology, so I studied it. I then went on to study different types of massage, all different types of massage and aromatherapy. Many years later, I studied homeopathy, and I've just been very blessed in life doing something I absolutely love. I did at one stage think about studying medicine, but I realized that medicine can't heal a person or can't help a person heal on such a deep level that a holistic therapies can. So I decided to stay with that. I love to work with people, with their emotions, hear their stories, and help a person feel whole and complete.
Excellent. So within all of that, what's your specialism, would you say?
When I first started out, for the first 10 years, I worked mainly with pregnant women and with people with cancer. I just seemed to attract those people. So those became my areas of specialism. I did a lot of research into those. I did a lot of extra courses in cancer care and pregnancy care. But then when I had my own daughter, I developed the most dreadful chronic fatigue. And so for the last 14 years, that has become my special interest, is working with people with chronic fatigue, with exhaustion, burnout, and insomnia.
So is that why this area is of the most significance?
Yes. It's got a lot of personal significance to me. I understand what it feels like to be completely and utterly exhausted in life. And intellectually and academically as well, I find it a fascinating area because chronic fatigue is not always recognized by people. It's not recognized as a specific disease as such or a specific disorder. So a lot of people struggle almost silently. A lot of people struggle when they could be getting help. And chronic fatigue is not just an emotional or an energetic disorder. It's actually physical as well. Your blood pressure changes, your blood sugars change. It can be measured physically by specific biomarkers as well. So yeah, it's definitely my passion.
So I guess for those who are listening who might be suffering from this, I guess it hits you mentally, physically, and emotionally on all three levels.
Yes, it does. It does, and it also has a huge impact on your work, on your ability to work, on your memory. I found for me, the most frustrating thing was I had this constantly foggy brain, or I felt like I couldn't remember things. And at first I thought it was just pregnancy brain, which is common after you've had children, but it just continued for too long. So it's very frustrating. It's also very difficult for your family as well when you're just exhausted all the time and just want to sleep all the time.
And I know you, as well as writing, you can see the vast books that you've written behind you, and as well as treating people and teaching people. Can I ask you, is there quite a significance of male clients that you see as well who suffer from this?
Yes, I see a lot of clients who struggle with fatigue. It's quite frightening. A lot of children do as well. Young children struggle with fatigue, teenagers, women especially. Often it develops after someone's had an illness or an infection. With women, it can develop after pregnancy as well. But what is important is to differentiate whether it is proper fatigue or chronic fatigue syndrome, or maybe sometimes it might just be a hypothyroidism or anemia. So I make sure I check all those things and cancel those out before we start treating someone for fatigue, because it could be so simple as they've got low iron or something like that, especially kids. That's common. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you're very knowledgeable, you've done a lot of research. That's obviously based on not just the fact that you're a therapist, but you're also a homeopath, an author,
Yeah.
and quite a few other things that you're doing as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yes, I'm actually, I'm a homeopathic doctor. So in South Africa, you study homeopathy. It's a 6-year full-time course. And your first 3 years are just plain medicine. And then the last 3 years, you look at homeopathy, nutrition, lifestyle, exercise. You do iridology, herbalism. So I've got a very good all-round background, sort of. Yeah.
yes, and I'd like to add to that, and to those who are watching, just to say that Ruth is also an ambassador and a subject matter expert for ThinkTree, and we're very, very pleased and proud to have her on board. So tell me, obviously we can see your books in the background. What's happening in the future? Where are you now?
Well, at the moment, for the last 2 years, I've been updating my books. So I'm very excited to let people know that I've got second editions of my books coming out. And with my anatomy and physiology book, I've added a big pathology section. So the second edition has a really nice pathology section added, as well as a lot more detail on the muscles and the skeletal system. And I've written a new book, which will also be out in January 2021. It's a workbook to accompany my reflexology guide. So the complete guide to reflexology is the second edition's coming out next year. And with it is a workbook. It helps students prepare for their exams. It helps students learn the reflexes. But it also helps students and therapists set up a practice and make sure they don't burn themselves out. That's quite a focus. I think a lot of therapists tend to give too much and tend to burn themselves out very quickly.
And that sounds like a lot of kind of self-experience as well.
Yes.
Hence what you've been doing. So that's really interesting, and I do know that your books are used as study guides for level 3 qualifications in the UK. And we certainly use your book for our anatomy, physiology, and pathology courses with ThinkTree as well. So we know that they are very, very good, quality assured, and lots of information and easier to follow. So we've had some really, really good feedback. So what else is happening in your future then? What else do we have to look forward to?
So I'm going to carry on building my homeopathy practice, seeing a lot more patients online. I'm in the process of writing a book on chronic fatigue and burnout and insomnia. And I'm also, together with ThinkTree, we've been developing lots of smaller courses. So I'm getting a lot of online short courses, 1.5 to 2 hour long. They are specifically for qualified therapists. And I'm really focusing on trying to take all the knowledge and all the theory that we're given and put it into practical skills. An example is one of my courses that's currently up is on chronic inflammation. And there's so much information and so much research done on chronic inflammation, but it can be very difficult to talk to your clients about it or to recognize it in your clients and to give them guidelines as to what to do. So that's what my courses are focused on. They're focused on how you can help your clients, how therapists can help their clients. And so far I've got a course on chronic inflammation, one on gut health, and one on stress and how to cope with stress. Yeah.
Excellent. And we know we've had some really good feedback on those, so thank you very much. And so just before we finish then, what kind of messages have you got for those therapists out there who are currently practicing? What kind of advice and guidance would you give them?
I would say look after yourself. Make sure you don't burn out. Make sure you don't overdo things. And keep loving what you do. Don't let too much theory bog you down. Don't let don't get lost in the details. I think with holistic health, it's about your client, it's about the person in front of you, it's about the connection with them, and to just really enjoy what you're doing in life. My great aunt, 2 years ago, I spent some time with her. She was 84 years old. She was a homeopath. I spent a week with her, and 6 of those days, she saw 5 clients every single day at the age of 84. And that's how therapists should be. If we love what we do, hopefully we'll be working right into our 80s and enjoying it.
Excellent. So just to let you know then, if you're watching this interview, you can catch Ruth's articles in the newsletter from ThinkTree, if you remember. And also you'll see Ruth popping up on several webinars, free webinars that we're hosting, and also further courses to come from Ruth Hull as well on our ThinkTree website. So Ruth, thank you ever so much. It's been a great pleasure to speak with you, and thank you for the great work you're doing, and we look forward to speaking to you and chatting to you again.
Thanks, Kush. Nice to chat.
Thank you.